you have this song 9 years ago called Kanye. And
Hmm.
you say in it, you know, about Wanya Morris from Boys the Men. He told Atlantic Records A&R Daryl Jones that you were signed to him, and he ended up signing like, you know, Lupe Fiasco instead of
Hmm.
you. Can you talk about
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. So my manager Zeke, at the time knew somebody named Mike the Barber. I believe his name is right. He was a famous barber in New York. He cut everybody. He cut Diddy's hair. He cut Jadakiss hair. So Mike would do this thing where if an exec sat in his chair, he would play some beats or something from people that sent him stuff. Like he was like, this is his way of like networking and hopefully he could find this artist or this producer or whatever, play it for Diddy or something, and Diddy sign him. And it's just like, yo, I met him through Mike the Barber. That's Mike's way of doing this thing. So Daryl Jones used to get his hair cut by Mike the Barber. Zeke knew Mike, sent him a CD of my beats, and on that CD I was doing hooks. I put hooks on a lot of my beats. So Daryl was like, yo, who is that? And he's like, some dude named, Trax or whatever. My man Z gave me this. It's like one of his artists. And he's like, yo, he's like, these beats is fire. Then he's like, who's doing the hooks? He's like, I think it's the same dude. So he's like, yo, I got to call him. So he called Zeke. So Zeke set up a meeting. Now, in the meantime, over those like months before that, I was working with Wanye. Um, and Wanye had a partner. I forget his name. I think his name was like Biz or something like that. But anyway, I was working with Wanye on Will Smith's new project.
Oh
So I was
wow.
like, yeah. So I was doing like a bunch of like beats and but I
Was
was just going over.
was it
Uh,
like Lost and Found or like
I
what?
don't remember. I don't remember. I'm not even sure if it ever came out.
Okay.
But I was just going over to Wanye's studio, and just making beats. Wanye had a studio. Sean from Boys to Men had a studio. These were all in like the Touch of Jazz building, like DJ Jazzy Jeff's building in Philadelphia. So they had different studios. So I would go over there and make beats. And then I kind of like stopped going over there because it was like, all right, I did a lot over there, but I got to focus on my label and do all this other stuff. So I'm doing that. Zeke's like, yo, you got this meeting. So Wanye's partner calls me one day and he's just like, yo, what's been up, bro? You ain't been to the studio. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I just been working on this. Actually, yo, I'm hyped because I got a meeting with Atlantic. He was like, oh, word. He was like, who you dealing with over at Atlantic? And I was like, Daryl Jones. He was like, Daryl, I know Daryl. And I was like, that's what's up. He was like, yo, I played your stuff for Daryl. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah, me and Wanye both played your stuff for Daryl, bro. We gave him a CD, what's your number on it? What's your name and your number on there? And I was like, oh, well, so this will make all the story make sense now. I was like, well, he didn't even call me. He called my manager, Zeke. So I know that whatever this connection is wasn't from y'all because y'all didn't even know I had a manager named Zeke. I was just working with y'all. So he called Z, which means this came from Mike the Barber and that whole situation, not a CD that y'all gave him with my number on there. So they're like, yeah, but your name back then, my name was Trax Trigger. And he's like, yo, nobody forgets that name, bro. Like your name was Trax Trigger, bro. I'm sure he just didn't want to go through us because he knew he would have to pay top dollar to get to you. And I was just like, well, why would he have to go through y'all? I'm not signed to y'all. Like, I'm just going to y'all studio and making beats. I'm not signed to y'all or nothing like that. So why would if he didn't want to go through y'all? Oh well, he just didn't want to go through y'all. He found a different way to get to me and found my manager. Whatever it is, cool. And it was like, nah, that ain't cool. Nah, we don't. That ain't cool, yo. Imagine if this was the street. You know what I mean? He didn't found a new way to go around and get to the connect. I was like, yeah, but it's not the street.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like this is a music industry, and this dude didn't want to do business with y'all, and he found a way around. I was like, and I don't even know if that's the case. I'm just saying that with the position y'all with the statements you're saying, maybe he just found a way around. So they're like, nah. So Wanye calls me. He's like, yo, Trash, you gotta understand this shit like the street, man. He trying not to pay us. He just trying to go around us to get to the connect. And I'm just like, Wanye, I'm telling you, bro, do not call. He's like, yo, I gotta call him. So Wanye, I guess, calls Daryl. Daryl calls my manager, like, yo, before Wanye called, Daryl was saying, like, yo, I want to get your guy tracks with this other guy I got named Lupe or whatever. I got he's like, I'm not signing a bunch of people. He is like, but I got this kid Lupe. He's amazing lyrically, but that's what all he do. He's just a lyricist. He is like, Trax make songs and Trax make beats. He like a more hood Kanye. He was like, so this Kanye thing is happening, bro. Producers that make beats is starting to pop up. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I've been making beats for 10 years already, bro. I've been doing this for forever. And when I was doing it, I was inspired by Jermaine Dupri,
Right.
by Dr. Dre, by Redman, people that were artists that were already making beats and being artists. You know what I mean? So it wasn't a new thing, but for the industry, I guess they were finally recognizing that it could be both. You know what I mean? There's a person that could do both. And Kanye was the first person that everybody was recognizing that could do both, even though there was other producers and
Yeah,
rappers.
Timberland, you know, like
Yeah, there was other people already doing it, but I guess people didn't consider Dr. Dre or Jermaine Dupri a real rapper. They were producers that got on their beats. And I guess people didn't consider Redman a real producer. He was just a rapper that made some beats or whatever. But Redman had gotten the production too. A lot of people don't even know that. But anyway, I was like, all right, I'll be the more hood Kanye, whatever. I don't care. So he's like, yeah, he's like, I'm leaning towards Trax Trigger because you could be you got the beats and the rhymes, you self-contained, all this stuff. Is like, but I got this kid, Lupe. So anyway, after Wanye called him, it was kind of like, yo, I don't want to be in the middle of no mess. You know what I mean? Like, get everything straight, holler at me. I never spoke to Daryl again. My manager never heard from Daryl again. And he ended up signing Lupe. And then I don't hear anything about that. Because I'm not really, after I lost that situation, I'm just kind of like mad. I'm in a dark place, And then maybe a year later, I hear Lupe on Touch the Sky with Kanye.
You said you dropped a tear, like, when you heard
it. Yeah. I forget the timeline, but when I heard Lupe on Kanye's song, I was just like, yeah, that could have been me, bro. Like, that's crazy. Like, all right, I got to figure this out. You know what I mean? Because I just lost like one of those, what I was feeling like once in a lifetime opportunities due to somebody being jealous,